Big Bear, can people still make good entertainment content here in Los Angeles?
Yes.
Without giving over to Babylon?
Yes, you just can't do it with you can't be paid a lot of money for it. Like, they don't define Los Angeles. That's the beauty of it. It's like you and your buddies can make whatever you want. You know? Like, when people always say that to me, like, comedy's dead. Comedy's dead. I'm like, what are you watching, Netflix? Susan Rice is on that board. Like, that, like, there's some fucking real bad people in the Netflix is straight up programming. You know, 13 Reasons. It's all about suicide for kids. Suicide for kids is skyrocketing, and everyone's like, just make sure you get the measles shot. There was a death 20 years ago. I'm like, dude, 13 Reasons Why is telling kids to kill themselves. They're like, but I can't be around because I make fun of small hats. What the fuck is going on? It's just like, makes no sense. And it's know thyself. I will give you this piece of advice, though. Don't do jokes about a group if you actually do hate them. That's why I can do it. It's because I'm not motivated. And it weirds people out when they realize that about me. Because sometimes people get in and be like, oh, yeah, you get it. I'm like, what do you mean? You're way too intense about this. Like, it's funny. Do you guys not know it's funny? Like, I don't have an agenda. That's what people that don't have truth don't understand. It's like, they're like, why are you doing this? How are you getting lollipops and fancy pants for this? I'm like, I'm not. They're like, then why do it? Dude, I had a guy literally tell me that I married a half Hispanic woman so I could do racial jokes, and it was brilliant. I'm like, I love her. and just the wheels keep turning. They're like, oh, Question the Moon, you're trying to take down brave men. I'm like, dude, it just is weird. How do they get reception? They don't conceive of doing anything for anything other than material. And for that reason, they will literally go to hell. Like, and it's self-inflicted. They're just like, because then they get paranoid. Dude, no one's having more fun than me, and I've been kicked out of fucking everything. And people are good, man. People are a lot better than you think. This world is projecting an image on you guys that isn't real. Like, I hang with my neighbors. We exchange eggs and shit. We fix each other's stuff. They're cool. You know, people are still cool outside of this crazy Black Mirror. Black Mirror, it's literally a show on Netflix. All right, what do you got, Mike?
Since you were in Hollywood, would you ever want to go back to that corrupted lifestyle?
No. That's like being like, hey man, you know how you were just getting raped? Would you ever go back to that? And listen, like, there's some really cool people in LA, there's some beautiful spots. You can bloom where you're planted, man. You know, for me, I went to where I had family. My wife's family in Washington, my family in upstate New York. I'm not saying that you got to leave, but just maybe like Simi Valley or something. Just get out of the kill zone. There's no water. 30 million people without Social Security numbers. No big deal, guys. Oh, good. You got quinoa. Who's up?
So for a second, you talked about not having faith in and not being defined by like the mass population's opinion.
Right.
But you only touched on it for a second, and I really liked where you were going.
Thank
Could you
you.
share more of your insights on it and also what the alternative to it would be?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think it's just there's a fine line because you don't want to just go rogue. You know, it's like you have to respect the community traditions and stuff, but not be defined by it. It's basically, it's like the laws of man and the natural laws, kind of how I see it. Like, I follow the law, even if I don't agree with the federal income tax. I'm just kidding. But like, I know when they're wrong, you know? And the most important thing about questioning stuff is not filling in what you think. You know, where it's like, I don't know. I don't think we went to the moon. And they're like, so what is it? I'm like, I have no idea. It's the problem when people are like, we've had a Nazi space station, there's aliens. I'm like, how do you know that? He's like, I feel it. I'm like, no, that's when you start playing God a little bit. So I think not being defined by people, it's important when it crosses a line of morality. It's one thing if it's like, I don't know why I got to take off my shoes at the door, but I do because it makes my wife happy. It's all good. But if I'm going to say, the reason I lost my agent in Hollywood was I spoke out against trans children because it's child abuse. That I won't cross lines like that. And that's the difference. It's one thing to be like, yeah, you know, we all watch the Super Bowl, America, and it's another thing to be like, yeah, this child can determine their fake gender and then be abused and get Stockholm Syndrome. No, that's wicked. You know, and if you can't stand up for kids, you're not a man. Yeah. And I'm proof you can be flawed and shamed and fucked up and still be a loved man with a family just if you stay that path. Because that's the important thing. We're all flawed. We all have been shamed and humiliated and kicked off PayPal. We all haven't been kicked off PayPal. All right, what's up?
Okay, sir. I just wanted your opinion on one thing. Which man would you respect a little bit more? A man who fails at doing what's right, or a man who succeeds in doing what's wrong?
You can't fail if you do what's right. See, the binary you just presented is interesting because you can't fail if you're doing what's right. Because it's knowing what's right and trying is what's important. Because we all fail, we're all fallen. You know, it's not like we can heal the world. Sorry, Jews, we can't heal the world. Actual Jews find me very funny. It's true, yeah, it's a small group of fucking psychos that they hijacked it. The funny thing is shit I say is better for Jews than this small group of psychos. Because, listen, if you're not allowed to make fun of a group, people start being like, what's going on with that guy? It's like a snitch. It's like, why didn't he go to jail? You want to be mocked, trust me. It's how you release tension in society. Yeah, I'm doing you guys a favor, Jews. It's true, right? Who's up?
I just have a quick question. Do you know what July is?
July? Oh, yeah. Well, the bit I was working on was, of course, Gay Pride Month is June, and then it's July. It's not that funny in context.
July is White History Month.
We don't need a month. It used to just be all of it. It's like saying cis. It's like, no, it's just called being normal. Not saying being white is normal. Like, you don't have to specify. That's how you atomize everybody. Where it's like everybody has a special boy month. It's like, according to who? The medium is the message. It's that you submit to a month. Fucking think ahead, guys. Think about the moon. All right, who's up?
Hi, Owen. I'm a really big fan, and I was just wondering, I watch your streams a lot, and you say you have a lot of resentment and vengeance towards pedophiles and rapists, and Jesse says a lot of the time that we shouldn't have any resentment or hatred in our heart.
Yeah.
I was just wondering how you know.
No, I've struggled with that, but he's right. Like, that's the thing that's my thing that I struggle with. I used to think it would be lust, but it's not. Like, when I was younger, I thought that getting married I would always struggle with that, but I'm not. For me, it's vengeance. But that's why, without Christianity, I don't know how people survive. It's like, vengeance is mine, said the Lord. Like, we don't get to do that. I hate pedophiles because it's eating like yeast on the vulnerable. We all know it's insane. But like, our active hate feeds them somehow. And I work on that. I really do. Because I know that, you know, I don't want to be passive. It's not moral relativity. That's bad too. But like, when you obsess about it, you know, if you look at the abyss too long, the abyss looks back. You know, it's like, think about like if you were gonna, like anybody that wants to torture a pedophile, for example, that will let something into your heart. I know people that killed a lot of people in Afghanistan. And one thing they told me is when they realized they were good at killing, there was a moral wound. Like when they started being like, I'm fucking great at this. And they're like, human beings are not great at handling that. That's why it's got to be efficient. Like if you're going to kill a pedophile.
That's just the thing that confuses me is that you on your streams you talk a lot about like vengeance and resentment, you know, but here you are at Jesse's event and
yeah, I'm working through it. See, this is what you got to understand about me versus a lot of other people. I'm not a brand. So people can watch me be like, fuck, and then later be like, my bad about that. I read, you know, and then when people watch the whole process, they see that human beings aren't a finished product. Boom. Yeah, it's like, I recently have understood compassion to people that you hate. And when you do that, you actually can combat it way better. You know, like when you understand that, like, okay, perfect example, like wage gap, you know, the wage gap. And it's, your first thing is like, you know, we die more at work and all this stuff. And then you're like, they're trying to eliminate mothers. Like, think about, are women having a good time with their cats in the fucking cubicle with no one protecting them, thinking that abortion is power? Like, when you understand that, you can combat it better, and you realize they need leadership and love versus being like, bitch, you got to go to Brown for free. Like, that doesn't help. You know, and that's it's not easy because human beings have that, but Jesse's totally right about that. You know, but forgiveness is huge. You know, like.
So do you think that like we should like physically kill and punish
No.
pedophiles?
Oh, yeah, I mean, like in the legal system. No, but that's what I mean. Like, you can't put it on your shoulders because we can't handle that. Because dude, in the legal system, of course I think that they should be fucking killed. But you can't open that shit up. It's always wrong. It feeds the yeast when you're like, let's round them up. You can't figure it out. You can't figure out what's going on. You can't make that decision. You can't not get good at that and then realize that you're taking pride in hunting and killing. You know, it's complicated, but it's true. And this is coming from somebody who's had a lot of vengeance towards predators. But, you know, you can't fight a predator by becoming a predator. Yeah. Anybody else? Yeah.
Hey, what's up, Owen?
What's up, man?
Hey, so I've been listening to you since Joe Rogan, and I know you've gone up to like up and down, getting kicked out of Twitter and PayPal. Like, what makes you keep going?
Because I'm not lying. This is what people don't get. I got demonetized, and everybody was like, oh, he's not going to do it anymore. He's just doing it for the... And when I didn't stop, I don't think people knew what to do. They're like, he's just doing it because he's got AIDS. It's like, why would I do something I didn't love? You know, why didn't I do it? Like, the thing that gets me out of bed in the morning is saying what I believe and thinking it. There is no way. Like, working on your land is so much better than working for somebody else for money. I've done both. You know, when you're working for $20 an hour hauling branches because even though you just were on a sitcom for 3 years, but you stood up for little kids, it's like, it's not as fun. You're counting the hours. You're thinking about what bills you can pay. When it's your land, you'll work till you got a headlamp on because you care. It's the same with being a parent. It's the same with everything good in life. So I don't do it for money, and people don't fucking understand that. Don't get me wrong, when I'm like below bill pay, you know, I'll cook up a book, you know, I'll cook up a special or something. But after that, you know, the root of evil isn't money, it's the love of money. So when you're like, I'm doing this for more money, you're already hijacked and you don't know yet. So that's why I do it, because I fucking like it. I like making fun of Jews. And Muslims, and Mexicans, and what, that's the whole point. I'm just doing it because right now it's a fresh one. I just go where there's flack. You know, it's like O.J. Simpson. You think that Norm Macdonald gave a shit about O.J. Simpson? He said, they said you can't make fun of O.J. Simpson for being a murderer. What did he do? Every single SNL. O.J. Simpson killed his wife. That's why. It was just because they said that's off limits. And he was like, fuck you. He didn't care about O.J. Simpson. It's just, our job as comedians is to relieve pressure wherever the pressure is. And yeah. And by the way, this anti-Semitism shit isn't Jews. Like, they hijack Jews and hide behind that shit. I know a ton of Jews that are not into this at all. When it's like you criticize anything, it's like, oh, that's anti-Semitism. And Jews are like, the fuck does that even mean? Don't bring me into this. It's nonsense is what I'm trying to say. Like transphobia. It's another nonsense word. Do you guys not think so? Is there more questions?
Hi, Ben. My name's Trent.
What's your name?
Trent?
Oh, nice to meet you. My name's actually Owen. Anyway, go ahead. I'm just kidding.
I want to apologize about my comment earlier about all women are as cold as the moon.
Don't apologize.
But
Fuck.
it meant
Don't be sorry for that.
it meant to be a reference into that the moon puts off cold temperature.
Oh, you're that next level shit. See, I'm not there. I just don't believe you can do a live broadcast from a moon because I know that you can't. But I don't know about moonlight and all that shit. That's next level. Yeah, some of those like. Oh, anytime. Yeah, some of those YouTube channels are like penis, weenus, one-eyed weenus, Illuminati one-eyed weenus. It's all hiding in plain sight. Like I'm not there. Like, cause then you see shit everywhere, and people have said that about me. They've told me I'm a shill for literally everything. And I'm like, knowing myself, I'm like, I'm not. So I know that this isn't a great way to think.
BB,
Yo,
are you accepting applications to unauthorized.tv
for people to watch it?
for people to apply and possibly contribute?
Oh, we're one day at a time, man. We're trying to just, make sure we're not kicked off everything, but we're a slow build.
I have a business card just so it can marinate in your mind.
Cool, dude. There you go. How tall are you?
Like 6'4".
6'4"?
I'm the guy that was talking to you in the elevator. I was like, hey.
Yeah. No, there's a lot of people here right now, man.
Yeah.
All right, good to meet you. Yeah, I'll hit you up. Yeah, you too. Cheers. I like that you're 6'4" because I am a height supremacist. Yeah, like I was obsessed with that for months because I wanted to show how easy it is to create a new category. I don't fucking hate short dudes. I just wanted to show how easy it is to create tribes. I'm a height supremacist. You're like, if you're under 6 feet, I don't even look at you in the eye. People laugh for like a day, and then short dudes are like, hey man, I am a firefighter. I'm like, you're so fucking dumb. How do you not see what I just did? I just did all the talking points of race, except I made it about height. And people literally spiraled, and I was like, ta-da! And people were like, hey man, my father was short, and he was a great. I'm like, God, the internet's gonna fucking kill us. It's true though, right? You can create it out of anything. Like, cause my dad taught rhetoric, so I know wizardry. I just didn't know that people could use it so badly. People say, oh, you're a conspiracy theorist. So now I just say I have conspiracy queries. They're not trained yet to hate that. I'm a white enthusiast. I'm enthusiastic when I see whites. No one gets mad at that. Why? Because you're programmed with words. That's why it's called spelling. It's cursive. It's fucking real, dude. Dude, the creation of a word will change a whole society. Transphobia. What's that? It's wizardry, dude. Got a lot of Gandalfs out here in the City of Angels, too.
Hey, Big Dad.
Yo.
How's the family?
What's that?
How's the family?
Family's great, brother.
Okay, so I was wondering, like for men.
Did you read a book on how to greet a man? Was that hilarious? He was like, Big Bear, how is the family? I'm like, see, and when it's a little out of place like that, I'm like, wow, what do you know that I don't know? I'm like, why is just a dude at a conference asking me about my family? They're good. Why? Is that some sort of dig? It's like a dude just being like, I hope your family's okay. It's like, dude, you don't understand. When you question the moon, people say shit like that. That's why it's called being a lunatic. I like words. I'm really not that into it. I just thought it was funny. There's going to be people blogging after this. Oh my God, he thinks every word means. What's up?
So I was wondering, like, for a young man that loves God and wants a family more than anything, what advice would you have for me?
You're already doing it. That's it. It's not as hard as people think. Like, also, like, where are you looking? Like, where are you trying to meet a woman?
I know. I did not know.
You got to try too, though. That's the thing, is you have to put yourself out there. But you're already in the right path. You know, a lot of men that are like, I don't need God, I have my fancy pants. Like, it's not. Because you get lost sometimes, and you need guidance just like anybody else does. And then you help guide women so they can guide children, and then children can re-inspire God. You know? And that's why the people that hurt children infuriate God. But it's not us to, rip their dick off and make them eat it and all that stuff. See, it's a bad thought.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you, brother. I hope I know you will, but my advice for you, though, is like me, like a church volunteer, there's a lot of good women. The vast majority of women are not on Tinder. I promise you. There's a weird thing happening where everybody thinks every woman's a whore. They're not. There's good women out there. You just don't go to like raves.
Can we get a picture before you go?
No, I gotta like literally run the fuck out of here. I gotta catch a plane. No, I'll finish this up. We're good.
What habits and advice helped you in your early career as a comedian?
Be funny. Don't overthink this shit. And that also is the same thing that ruined my career.
Hey, how's it going? I had something written, but you're absolutely right. There's something that's feeding on fear, and I sent you a DM about that, and you're on the right path. Sent you a DM previously about congratulating on you not drinking and how it clears the fog. So you're absolutely on the right track, and that's why you're able to tap into these.
Yeah, well, that's so true, man. Because a lot of it just starts with you. Like I hear all these people talking about like, oh, we gotta blah blah. I'm like, have you even quit porn yet? You know, like, do you know how good that is for your mind? Like, if you stop watching porn, you don't see the world. You see a lot more in the world of good stuff. Because it's like, porn trains you to look at the world as a voyeur. You know, where you're like, who's gonna? Yeah, it's like, who's gonna turn me on today? Like, and then you become a cuck because you're just. It literally closes your ability of seeing things. And for me, with drinking, my problem was I was a good drunk, but it would make me eat and it just made me a worse dad. And I caught myself doing self-wizardry. And that's been a tough one, honestly. But I'm glad I did, because if you don't have, a man is a slave to any of his appetites, you know, and a slave is king if he doesn't have appetites. And people don't realize that shit, and that is true as fuck. You know, I know some of these big hitters in comedy, and if any appetite they have, they get cranked, you know, it's like, run out there and, what's that? No, but it's true. It's like, that's why when you'll see celebrities or comedians, you know, embarrassing themselves by being like, we need gun control now. And you're like, what the fuck is wrong with you? They're owned because they got to feed a beast. And you got to work I know carpenters, plumbers, truck drivers that don't have those beasts, and they're having a way better time. It's a fucking lie being sold right now. All right, what else you got?
You're on the right track.
Well, I mean, not always. I mean, I do kind of spiral about certain shit. No. Yeah, I'm making one as we speak.
No, you're right. I listen to you all the time, and it gives me hope.
Oh, thank you. And by the way, thanks to everybody. You guys have all been so cool to me. Thanks for everybody that like listens to my shit. All right.